Hi, I'm Brickroad. Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. We don't have Mog in the party. Sorry to get your hopes up. We're at the scenario split, and we get to choose which order we play the three scenarios in, but we're going to start with Bannon's. Because in Bannon's scenario, even though the people are flung out to the far reaches of the world, even though my heroes are scattered to the winds, as it were, they still share an inventory. So things that we find in one scenario we'll be able to put to use in another scenario. And that informs my decisions on which scenarios to play in which order. Bannon's we're playing first. The goal of all three scenarios is to reach the town of Narsh. We're going back to Narsh, so Bannon and his terrorist organization can negotiate an alliance with the Narshians, who are still neutral in this whole war thing, but they have that frozen Esper in their caves from the beginning of the game. Bannon thinks rolling up with the King of Figaro at his side will put him in a particularly powerful position of negotiation, and he thinks that having this Esper on their side, if they can use Terra, who uses magic, to talk to this Esper, get it to wake up and join their cause, then that would be just super for Bannon and his terrorists. And it would spell bad news for the Empire, the evil Empire that's taking over the world, that currently has taken over South Figaro, which is where Locke is right now. Bannon has the shortest of the three scenarios. It's pretty much do the rest of the, I mean, you'll see it in the coming 5-10 minutes or whatever. But it's really short. It's a very short little dungeon, one little mini game kind of thing. But we get to meet a lot of Moogles. That's very exciting. However, we have lost the benefit of Sabin here. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll put Terra back in the front row. I want to take away her Genji glove. That's for the best there. Okay, so she's back on the front line. You see we're back up by Narsh, where the river meets the mountains up here. We're fighting these old-ass enemies again. These guys will go down very, very easily. We are considerably more powerful than last time we passed through here. If only because of auto crossbow. Auto crossbow just tears apart the entire early parts of this game. So we can't just walk into Narsh, it's under guard. But Locke taught us about this secret passage here. And so, giant hole in the cliff. So now we're going back into the caves that we escaped from early in the game to get back into Narsh. So pretty much auto crossbow is going to take care of all these monsters. Are nothing. These monsters are absolutely nothing. Auto crossbows got this. And in fact, the first time we were going through the caves with just Terra, if we had made more liberal use of fire, we probably would have been able to tear it up too, but that's okay. But I said we're doing... Oh, we got to do the minigame first. Okay, so we're going to do this minigame, and the thing is you got to push the button at a particular time, and if you push the button at the wrong time, it triggers a fight. And so if you perform quote-unquote correctly, you don't trigger the fight, which is fine. But if you mess it up and you trigger the fight, you actually fight a monster that you can't encounter anywhere else in the game. And this game actually has a mechanical reason why you would want to encounter as many monster formations as possible. It's actually, if you're going for the full hundo, it's going to, it's going to mess up your bestiary, and there's a character later on who will not be able to get a particular ability if you do this correctly. We're not going for the full hundo. We're not going to screw this up. I know how to get through this maze. So we're going to get through here without fighting the guard or whatever. How the Narshians managed to afford this, like, laser light show security measure, actually, I have no idea, but just walk around here, up around the middle, Down here, up the side, and into the door, and there we go. Now, funny thing about the full hundo in this game is that speedrunners do have a particular category of this run that they call 100%, which you would think would be the full hundo, get everything in the game. They don't get even close to everything in the game, because the actual full hundo, Moogles, told you, one of these Moogles is a shop, actually. I just don't want to buy anything. All I really need to do from these Moogles is rob them of their rune blade, which will be very important in a little bit. Yeah, they skip a lot of stuff in this game, which is understandable because an actual full hundo run of this game would probably 30 or 40 hours at the very least. I can't imagine it would be less time than that because of all the time you've got to spend grinding in order to get fill out all the characters' ability lists, teach every character every spell, that kind of stuff. So the full hundo speedrun of this game actually isn't 100% of everything. It's really, I think they collect all the espers and get all the characters, and that's all they worry about. But that goes into a whole rabbit hole of speedrunner community fracturing over various categories of each game. It's a sticky situation. I'm not a speedrunner, so I don't have a dog in the fight anyway, so I'm just going to leave it alone. And we're going to step away from it. And believe it or not, we're almost at the end of Bannon's path here. So what's my equipment look like here? Do I have anything I want to jack? Yeah, you know what? Let's take that hyper wrist. We'll be able to use that hyper wrist in a little bit. We already took her Genji glove off, so that's good. We're good now. So Arvis here, the kindly man from the beginning of the game who rescued Terra from the mines, is a member of the terrorist group Returners. And yeah, that's the end of this scenario. That's all there is to it. That short little jaunt down the river. And then a little bit of spelunking. Not even there should have been a boss fight, I think. Or maybe something to do with the Moogles other than just walk through their house. I don't know. I always felt that part of the game was a little anemic. Let's go ahead and drop the save here. Why can't I save? Oh, the save point didn't ding yet. You gotta wait for it to ding. Ding! Alright, Locke, what you got for us? So first thing we need to do is get Locke equipped. So he's in South Figaro, which is now under Imperial rule. And this is where they kind of teach how to use Locke's special ability, Steel. First thing we're going to do is give him a Genji glove to raise his defense and let him equip 2 weapons. We're also going to give him the Hermes sandals so he runs in battle. And he's got 2 of our strongest weapons. He's good to go. Locke is a machine now. So the idea here, it's kind of a puzzle situation. Because you find a house here where the guy won't let you pass because you're not a merchant. The reason we can't just walk anywhere in town, because if we go up here, this Magitech armor will kill us. We're not strong enough to kill the Magitech armor yet. But there's a house that has a passage to the other side of the town, which is where we want to get, but we can't get there because only merchants are allowed through. And Locke's not a merchant. But there is this merchant here. And he calls Locke's names, so Locke decides to murder him, because Locke is a murderer. So we're just going to steal from this guy. We're just going to steal from this guy. There we go. We're going to leave him naked in the middle of this shop. And then the guy runs off. But now Locke looks like a merchant. So Locke is a violent sociopath who steals the clothes right off people's body. That's actually what you do in this game in order to get through this part. But now we can go down the stairs here, and Jabroni the Brat will let us through. Because the Imperials have cracked down on the town, there's just no way through. The next place we need to get to is... we take this little secret passage. If you don't know about this secret passage, what you have to do is go up to the top of the town along the wall, fight an Imperial soldier, steal his clothes, relieve another Imperial soldier from his duty. That takes a lot of running around. We'll just take that little secret passage and get to it. These green guys walking around, you can steal their clothes and become a green soldier. I think we want to go downstairs in the pub. Rob this guy. Yeah, I'm actually here to steal your cider. Like, you have the moral high ground here, my friend. I literally actually did break into your house to steal your cider. Like, he's right. Locke is a dick. So we actually just skipped a step in the puzzle. You're supposed to go up and steal the soldier's clothes, relieve an Imperial soldier of his duty, so he leaves his post, and you can walk through his post and get to the pub. Or you just use that little secret bridge over the river in the middle of town. Skip that step. Come down here. Get you some cider. And leave this guy bleeding on the floor. Oh, we didn't even leave him bleeding on the floor. We just murdered him. Characters who are dead in these kind of games, their sprite tends to flicker away. That must have been what happened there. We murdered that man. Stole his booze, put his clothes on over the clothes we were already wearing from the other man that we violently assaulted. But now that we have ciders, we're going to pretend to be the merchant that's here to sell this man his booze. And he tells us about a secret tunnel. But he doesn't know the password. We have to guess the password. Password's pretty easy to guess. It's what you would expect. It's courage. No, the password is never failure, although Rosebud is pretty funny. Nothing happens if you get it wrong. You can just try again. It's just a little gag. And this takes us through this tunnel up to the mansion. Now, we've already looted most of this mansion. Most of this, we came into South Figaro the first time, just because I know where all the passages are to how to get to this little room here. We've already done most of the looting here, but there will be a couple rooms that will be open to us now. And this is where we'll get to see one of the few major changes to the storyline of this game. The puzzle here is you got to find these stairs. That's the puzzle here. So in the original version of this game, we're about to meet our next party member. I'll just take off the disguise, why not? In this door here is being held an Imperial traitor, and we never learn the circumstances of why she's a traitor, like what she did to betray the Empire. But Locke's down here. He sees that there's an Imperial general being held captive because she betrayed the Empire somehow, and she would be an incredible asset to the Returners. So Locke's like, I'm going to take her back to the Returners. In the original game, this guard roughed her up a bit. This guard punched her in the gut, and she fell over onto the ground. They cut that out of this game because violence towards 16 by 32 pixel women is wrong, although violence towards hundreds and hundreds of pixel monsters is perfectly fine. Write your senator. So instead of being beaten up and left on the ground, Celes just falls over forward. I love Locke's little hiding spot up there in the rafters. That's pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna go rescue Celes, and this is actually a pretty hard part of the game. We're gonna go down under the house where there are monsters, and they're pretty tough. And we've only got 2 characters, and neither of these characters have really good special attacks. We don't have access to auto crossbow. We don't have access to blitz. We're kind of working just with the strength of their attacks. Fortunately, Celes has magic. She's the first character we get that has access to both her special skill and a little bit of magic. She's got a cure spell, she's got an ice spell, which is good. So she can help keep us alive. But because we have 2 low-level characters, and we have like the new tier of monsters awaiting for us. But because we did Bannon's situation first, we can start her out with this Rune Blade, which is going to use her MP so she can deal critical hits. So Celes will, every attack she does will be a critical hit, and Locke gets 2 swings with both of these, and he acts very, very quickly. So we should be okay. I personally don't think this scene should have been removed. I mean, I guess it was a controversy. I mean, it was 10 years ago now, but the idea was that they didn't want a scene in the game where this woman was getting punched, but it's like, that's part of the story, though. Like, it's showing how absolutely rotten the Empire is. No, it's still empty, damn it. And it's not like it was a graphic scene, like it wasn't a rape scene or anything, it was just the sprite, the soldier's sprite hit her, and then, where are the secret passages here? Here, I think? Yeah, there's one here. It made it the punching sound effects, and, oh, I didn't mean to steal there, I meant to attack, oh well. And then she looked like she got, like, that dog just clawed her in the face. Like, it's not, like, we're not being spared the sight of Celes's sprite being attacked. We're going to see her sprite be attacked hundreds and hundreds of times over the course of the game. I'm just going to keep using Optimum here until we get everything we need. The idea is that she starts with no equipment whatsoever. So, if you've been selling off all the gear that you've been picking up, or if you didn't unequip your previous characters, if you didn't do Bannon's situation first and unequip them, Celes joins your party with nothing. She's got, like, nothing good until you come down here and get that stuff. But I think she's already good to go. Like, she's already got that stuff, so we'll just probably sell that off eventually. So if we go this way, there's another little secret path that we're going to take. Like, these guys are going to beat up Celes, and they didn't censor this scene. I don't know. To me, it strikes me as overzealous censorship. It makes sense that Imperial Guards will beat up a prisoner in their midst, and I think that if the prisoner had been a man, they would not have censored it. We're going to get another one of the best relics in the game here. The ribbon, which protects against all status ailments forever. You get one of those super early in the game. It is pretty well hidden. You do really have to know where to look. But I mean, you see this passage. You can see the passage from the dungeon, from the other side over there. It's not like it doesn't give you a clue where to look. And you have to go into this little site, like this little passage here anyway, so I think that secret is pretty well clued, although once you get in there, you still have to, the treasure box that holds the ribbon is still itself hidden. He just hit me twice. I wish they would have censored that hit. That earring is going to be super useful. So that earring is the reason we did this scene second. Because that's going to be very, very useful to us going into our third scenario when we go back to Sabin. And that rune edge that Celes has, that uses her magic points to deal critical hits, which means she's probably running low on magic points now. But we're done with this dungeon and we're about to go do our second one. I always thought Locke was being a little coy in that scene. He's helping her. I mean, he's got a couple reasons. His main reason is that she reminds him of his girlfriend who died. And isn't that sad? But another reason is, let's go up to Sabin's hut here and hit the bed. We'll refill our magic points that way, so we don't have to waste a tent. But another reason is he wants to deliver Celes to Narsh and bring her into the Returners, because now they have a magic-using witch who can light people on fire with her mind, and potentially control of this Esper in Narsh, and the alliance with Narsh itself, with the Narshians and all of their iron, gunpowder, etc. And the whatever insider knowledge this Imperial General might have on hand. And we'll pop a save here. And now we're going to go back through the Figaro cave. This cave has been completely repopulated with new monsters. And that ominous sound effect, which I'm sure is fine. I'm sure that's fine. That's probably okay. But all of the treasures that we didn't get on our first run through this cave have leveled up into new, more powerful treasures, which will be very, very useful for us. So if you didn't have the instruction manual or the strategy guide for this game, and you didn't know that Magic for All was coming, Celes is your second clue of that, because she has both a special attack in her runic ability, and she has access to the magic command. She has both. And instead of Terra, who starts with fire magic, Celes actually starts with ice magic. Don't worry about Locke's poison, we'll take care of that. Yeah, I'm burning through her magic like crazy. We'll just go ahead and put on the ribbon. That's enough. Now we'll go ahead and put his Hermes sandals back on. And perfectly fine. I love that you can heal status ailments by equipping accessories that defend against those ailments. I think that's a really cool little touch that they put in the game. So now that Celes is going to be running out of magic, she's not going to be able to one-shot these monsters anymore. Actually, over here, I think our other treasure that we're going to get will be something that could refill some of her MP. But this isn't a very long dungeon anyway. It's not like we're going to be stuck in here forever against overwhelming odds. But again, you saw I did do a little bit of preparatory work for this mission. I made sure that Locke had access to his Hermes sandals and his Genji glove. If I had left those equipped on Terra or somebody, he would not have the benefit. I made sure to do Bannon's mission first, so we had access to the Rune Edge, which is very useful for getting through South Figaro. Like, a little bit of preparatory work in this game can go a long way. Alright, well, that's fine. We'll make use of the ribbon again. So I actually tend to not equip the ribbon in this game on a character and leave it equipped to block status ailments. There are some situations where that'll be useful, but for the most part, I just like to use it to heal status ailments that get afflicted on me. Of course, if you do that, if you rely on that, you don't have any way to cure status ailments in combat, which can catch you off guard late in the game if you don't have the right items in your inventory. And then this box is now a Thunder Rod, which is muy excelente. Do you have enough for a cure spell? You do. Let's go ahead and pop a cure spell. Celes is one of the game's major protagonists. There are two worlds in the game. The first world, the protagonist, is basically Terra, although she is absent for a lot of it. But then the second world, Celes, is the main protagonist. And so what I like to do typically is just make her my party leader. When we get to the second world, we start out with Celes, and we'll just use her pretty much exclusively as a party leader for the rest of the game at that point. That way I've got one character who is several experience levels higher than everybody else. She happens to be one of the characters that can equip a special weapon whose major damage component is your experience level. So we'll be doing a lot with Celes throughout the game. Now here's this boss, coming right through the wall. Celes is going to say, hey, it's going to throw magic at us. Use my super ability, which sucks up magic. And I'm like, nah, son. We ain't got to do any of that. All we got to do is bust this Thunder Rod. Cast Bolt 2 on it, or Thundara, I guess. The fun bit is, if you select this runic command, and she does her little Rurik animation, and then you have Locke use the Thunder Rod after that, she'll actually suck up the Thunder Rod, which is hysterical. I've done that accidentally on several occasions, because I'm an ignoramus. Choose a scenario, Koopa. Well, we don't have time for the third scenario today, Mog. We'll get to it tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next episode. Shoutouts to Nicholas Valentiner for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.